Good morning, friends. I will be discussing today about plantar fasciitis. Plantar fasciitis is the most common cause of heel pain and it usually occurs in this region of the heel. So, if a patient present with a pain which is on the bottom of the heel, more on the medial aspect of the heel, it is more likely to be due to plantar fasciitis. There are few other reasons which may cause pain into this particular area, which can be either a fat pad atrophy or a nerve entrapment either of the medial calcaneal nerve or of the Baxter's nerve. So these are the two nerves which may cause entrapment leading to a pain in this inferior region of the heel. Now this is very commonly associated with a heel spur. Heel spur is a very common condition that we see in about 10% of our normal patients. So it is about, if you see on the plantar aspect of the heel spur is seen in about 10% of the patients. Still, the chances of having a plantar heel spur linked to a plantar fasciitis is only 5%. So that means that if about 100 patients have a heel spur, only about 5% or 5 of them will have problems leading to a plantar fasciitis. Now, what causes plantar fasciitis? There are numerous theories. The specific causative factors are definitely weight, obesity, and some cases of pregnancy we see plantar fasciitis in a higher incidence. The other factors are a tight heel cord. So sometimes this heel cord is tight and this leads to a tight fascia on the plantar side. That can be one of the reason. And in some of the cases there is a increased arch. So if it is a high arch kind of a phenomenon, it is also associated with the plantar fasciitis. Now what is plantar fascia and what is plantar fasciitis? Now plantar fascia is basically a plantar aponeurosis which starts from the heel and it goes on like this to the 4 and the 5 fingers of the feet. So it is a plantar aponeurosis and it starts from the heel and it goes on to the sole and it attaches onto the 5 fingers. Now what happens is this portion is inflamed or it can be degenerative, and usually the pain is seen in this particular area, and this is called as a plantar fasciitis. Now how do we make a diagnosis of a plantar fasciitis? The diagnosis of plantar fasciitis is usually made clinically on the basis of symptoms of pain on the medial and plantar aspect of the heel. No other diagnostic modality is usually needed, but if needed, you can go ahead and do either an ultrasound or an MRI scan. And usually, if you find that the plantar fascia is thickened more than 4 millimeters, it is usually suggestive of a plantar fasciitis. Now, as far as treatment is concerned, usually it is a self-resolving illness. It usually resolves and improves over a period of time. Usually it may take around 6 months to around 18 months to recover in some cases, but usually it recovers on its own. Now what are the classic symptoms? So usually the patient will have pain on the medial and interior aspect of heel, that is number 1. And this pain will be maximum when the patient gets up in the morning. So when the patient wakes up in the morning and puts his feet on the ground, the pain will be maximum. Also, the pain will be more pronounced after an activity. So the patient will not feel a pain while he is walking or doing his activity, but the pain will be more when he stops the activity and take the rest in the evening. So these are the common symptoms of a plantar fasciitis. So when we talk about the treatment is predominantly conservative. We usually recommend giving a very low dose of anti-inflammatory drugs and local gels. That usually helps. The other thing that usually help is a soft sole footwear, and we usually recommend a medial arch support, and a silicone heel cup for the heel, which will provide more cushion to the heel and thereby reducing the symptoms of plantar fasciitis. So painkillers, anti-inflammatory drugs, local ointment, and then you can add with some kind of a orthosis like your silicone insole or a silicone heel cup that usually helps in these patients, and you usually should avoid advise to the patient to use a good quality of a footwear like a sports shoes. Besides that, some physiotherapy modalities like ultrasound and shockwave diathermy may help. Also, there is a role of the ESW, that is the extracorporeal shortwave lithotripsy in some cases. In some patients in which the symptoms are severe and the pain is not resolved with these conservative measures, you can consider injections, and we usually recommend injections on the top of the plantar fascia. So the injection should be given in this region, that is the top of the plantar fascia. You should avoid giving incision below the plantar fascia because that may cause fat pad atrophy and discoloration of the skin in that particular area. Besides steroids, you can also give injections of PRP. That is also recommended, and that usually causes regeneration and improvement and a healing response in the plantar fascia. Occasionally, everything does not help, and in those patients, it is imperative to do a surgical intervention. Now, you can do surgery in two ways. You can do either an open kind of a plantar fascia release or a arthroscopic or an endoscopic plantar fascia release. I usually recommend an endoscopic plantar fascia release, which is a very small procedure. It is about 15 to 20 minutes procedure in which we will release the medial half of the plantar fascia. The resection of the plantar fascia should not be more than about half of the plantar fascia, because if you release whole of the plantar fascia, you may end up in a lateral syndrome or a lateral overload syndrome, and you may lead to a collapse of the foot arch. So if you are bothered, or if you are in pain because of a chronic kind of a plantar fasciitis, an endoscopic plantar fascia release can give you a very good relief of the symptoms. It's a endoscopic surgery. It is a surgery which is done with a small endoscope, and we just do a small release of the fascia. Only about 1/3 to 1/2 of the fascia will just release, and the pain relief is substantial. We also may try to remove the spur, but removal of spur is not imperative. Even if you don't remove the spur, then also the results will be good. So friends, if you have any doubts, you can post us on the comment box. We'll be very happy to answer. Thank you.